Tonight on Connecticut's news station, remembering lives lost to domestic violence. An emotional message from friends, family, and others who've lost loved ones to the growing crisis.
I can only imagine how absolutely helpless that mother must have felt.
Heart-stopping moments in Windsor, a bank robbery and car theft suspect is dead. And we're getting updates on who was in the back seat of that stolen vehicle.
We have one more nice, dry, and sunny day before showers and rain return. Your full forecast coming up.
A group of tenants in the capital city calling attention to landlords they're describing as absent. The terrible conditions they say have been plaguing residents for some time now.
Now at 10, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
And we begin tonight in New Britain, where a vigil was just held to honor victims of domestic violence. Thanks for joining us here at 10. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Sarah Sanchez. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and Connecticut's oldest domestic violence program says tonight's events were all about giving survivors a voice.
Fox 61's Gabby Molina is live in New Britain now with more on this. Gabby.
Brent and Sarah, the Prudence Crandall Center has been helping people for 50 years. Tonight, people gathered here for a candlelight vigil with the goal of shining a light on the issue of domestic violence. 50 years ago, when Davida Foy Crabtree helped start the Prudence Crandall Center, she could have never imagined the crowd of people before her today.
It's really a sign of hope and healing.
Speaking out against domestic violence during a month dedicated to bringing awareness to it.
When I first started talking about it, there were threats of violence against me for talking about it. And there were proper women who didn't think I should say the words.
But she knew there was a need for help.
It was very controversial. People did not want us talking about it. They thought that it should be hush, hush. But we knew the truth needed to come out.
The importance of being silent no more, still true decades later.
We know that people who experience domestic violence are living in fear. They've been threatened and intimidated, and they often feel as if they don't have a voice. And so we are their voice.
The Prudence Crandall Center now offers a wide range of support and resources, including an emergency shelter, counseling, and court-based services.
Domestic violence happens in 1 in 4 women and 1 in 7 men as victims of domestic violence. In Connecticut, the average is about 14 people every year murdered as a result of domestic violence.
Shania Walker of Bristol was one of those people in 2013.
Her smile was everything.
Her sisters now help keep her memory alive for her sons and want to make sure no other family goes through what they did.
People end up losing their lives, and loved ones end up losing people that they love, and it's devastating.
Sharing the same belief that talking about the issue can be a light in the darkness.
Most important, and it should be spoken about every month.
If you or a loved one are experiencing domestic violence, there is help out there. The number to the 24/7 domestic violence hotline is 888-774-2900. And we do have more information on the resources available on our website, fox61.com. Live in New Britain, Gabby Molina, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right, turning to the weather now. It's starting to look like fall out there. It does not feel like fall out there. We've had a very hot week here.
Yeah, let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank for a first look at the forecast. Rachel, I see something about records breaking or something.
See what I'm doing there?
Oh.
You like that? It was today in the Hartford area. We ended up tying the daily record of 86 degrees. That record was set back first in 2007 and tied today. No record for the shoreline, but it was within a few degrees and speaks volumes as to just how warm it was for this time of year. We have one more warm day tomorrow, not as hot as today. We're thinking highs in the 70s instead of the 80s. And another thing you might have noticed is it actually felt a little bit humid outside today as well, which is even more bizarre for this time of year. Temperatures right now in the mid 60s to right around 70 degrees. We're looking at overnight lows in the 50s to right around 60. And we once again could see patchy fog as we head towards daybreak, especially in the river valley. However, it might be a little bit more widespread than that So if things start to look a little bit misty when you wake up in the morning, just know with a little patience, we will break for sunshine, and it is another warm, bright, and sunny afternoon with highs climbing into the mid to upper 70s. Our last dry day before clouds return and a rising chance for showers on Friday. We'll talk about what that means heading into the weekend. Of course, we have more rain in the forecast coming up.
Thank you, Rachel. We're following breaking news out of Manchester. A man has been arrested accused of sexually assaulting and then robbing a 65-year-old woman on a hiking trail near Charter Oak Park. Police tell us that Daquan Clark Blue charged the woman, inappropriately touched her, and briefly took her purse and cell phone. They also say the woman fought him off, taking a picture of him as he ran away before calling police. They arrested him a short time later. The woman was taken to the hospital. We're waiting for more information on her condition, though. He's facing multiple charges and is being held on a $500,000 bond.
A wild scene in Windsor today where police say a car thief seized an opportunity to take off in a car with the keys inside and a toddler in the back seat. That was one of 3 calls to 911 in a matter of minutes. Another call came in after the scary crash that caused that man's death. It happened at the intersection of Windsor Avenue and Hillcrest Road. Sky 61 was over the scene as police closed off the area to traffic. Let's go back to the beginning and walk you through the chain of events leading to that crash. Just after 9 this morning outside the St. Gabriel School, the driver of a silver Acura sedan inexplicably left her child alone in the car with the engine still running. The thief got in and took off for the Windsor Federal Savings Bank on Bloomfield Avenue. He robbed it and then used the stolen Acura to get away, with the baby still strapped in the car seat. He was speeding down Broad Street toward Windsor Avenue when he lost control, rolled over, and the neighbors heard it crash.
From the sound of the accident itself, I knew it wasn't good. It was, it sounded like an explosion, and then I saw a plume of smoke and you could smell it.
There were several people who were, I guess, driving by who had stopped to help. And I heard them screaming, "There's baby inside, there's baby inside." They picked up a tree branch trying to break the window to get in.
Well, first responders finally cut away the roof of the car and rescued the child, who was reunited at the scene with her mother, their mother. At last report, that child was alert and responsive at Connecticut Children's. There is no word tonight on whether charges will be brought against the mother, but it is against the law in Connecticut to leave a child under 12 unsupervised in a car or in a public place that could pose a risk to their safety. According to the Kids and Car Safety Group, so far this year, 125 children nationwide have been left alone in a car that was then stolen. That's as of August. The number was 265 kids for all of last year.
We're following tragic news out of Massachusetts now. Police in Holyoke are investigating a shooting. One of the victims was a pregnant woman whose baby had to be delivered while she was in critical condition. That baby, though, did not survive. The mother was shot while sitting in a bus. Police say 3 men got into a fight on the street before gunshots were fired. Those men were taken to the hospital, but their conditions are unknown. According to the DA's office, the men are in custody.
Well, the fallout from the sexual assault scandal at the U.S. Coast Guard Academy in New London continues. A former Academy professor has resigned as president of Nichols College in Massachusetts. Glenn Solmasi stepped down Tuesday amid an investigation initiated by the college. Solmasi faces accusations from his tenure at the Coast Guard Academy at a time when accusations were leveled against the institution. The Coast Guard previously apologized for failing to take appropriate action in addressing these cases. Solmasi has not commented publicly. Well, new tonight, Hartford and Connecticut tenant unions and advocates are calling on a New Jersey-based landlord to negotiate with its tenants.
Folks living along Wethersfield Avenue call conditions deplorable at their apartment complex.
Fox 61's DeAndrea Turner was at today's press conference. She joins us now live outside the apartments with more. DeAndrea.
Hi, Brent and Sarah. Well, here are some of the things that the tenants were asking for today in this press conference. They're asking for affordable housing, safe conditions, accountability, better living conditions, and fair rent. Now, some of these tenants also told me today they are facing a $200 rent hike with the new owners of this building, but they haven't been able to get in contact with them. So now, instead of that rent hike, they're asking for a change to happen today.
Housing is a human right. The rent is too damn high.
Dozens of advocates stood in solidarity with Hartford residents who called 267 and 271 Wethersfield Avenue home to demand action from new property owners. People like Alberto Gomez, who has lived in this building for 16 years after coming to Hartford from Mexico. Through a translator, he shared the daily experience he, his wife, and kids are facing.
I do believe that this is the land of opportunities, but unfortunately we are living in conditions that are very similar to what I left at home.
He says the list of issues is staggering, from mold to bugs in their home to leaking roofs.
The water also comes down through here.
Tenants say they want the new owners to meet and negotiate a housing contract with them due to the conditions they are living in.
We are here to negotiate as a community for our families.
In the last 2 years, they say they've had 2 owners. The current owner, as of July, is Arlington Management Group, LLC, based out of New Jersey.
It is almost impossible to find the current owner of the building or someone that can help us.
The city of Hartford says that one way they can help tenants is if they call 311 and file a complaint about the conditions.
We will make a list of any problems that are at the property, and we will create a requirement called a notice of violation that the landlord is responsible to respond to with correction of the violations.
And we also tried to reach out to the landlord or the business owner at Arlington Management Group, and we were left him a voicemail, and we're waiting to hear back tonight. In Hartford, DeAndrea Turner, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.